Hello,
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen. Am I allowed to use the plural of either? Lady
uh,
or gentleman?
no, there's no plural. There's no one
Good.
watching.
Well, on
And
YouTube
it's
in the
lady,
future,
because as we know, this is Nonny.
yeah, in the
Uh,
future,
one sec. There should be somebody watching
Oh, we got a viewer, guys. We got a viewer.
now.
Cool.
And yes, you can use lady or gentleman.
lady or gentleman, it's lovely to have you watching on Catch Up on YouTube in a few weeks' time after James has become famous for an incident that, frankly, is too perverted to go into on this stream.
And wholly expected for those who knew him.
Exactly. This is Dragon Wheels, the criminally underwatched. A stupid man runs a stupid game for intelligent people. This week's intelligent people are Glenn. Say hello, Glenn.
Hello.
James. Say hello, James.
Hello, James.
And last but certainly not least is Nonny Townsend. Please say hello, Nonny.
Hello, Nonny.
And I am your host this evening. I'm Tim. We are missing
Hello
a couple of
this
people.
evening.
Sorry.
Hello this evening.
Oh dear.
Sorry, I didn't get in on the joke that the other two made, so I felt the need to.
It was the eyebrow waggle. That was the oh, creepy.
That's what really sold it.
This is going to be the last stream which has our regular lineup of people who you don't know because none of you watched the stream. We will be moving to a larger group of rotating and modulating guests from both sides of the pond going forwards. To finish off our initial, our standard normal way of doing things before we move into our brave new world starting next week, we're going to be playing two wonderful little games. One before a break, and then one, as you can probably guess, by process of elimination after
At the same
break.
time.
Yeah. Those two games are My Lunch with Senator Andre, which is a wonderful RPG. It's a very quick RPG by Alexander Sprague, who is at Kitty Crusade on Twitter. And the second is Murder She Did, or if you're English, Murder She Done, by Brian Ashford. Both of these are from the brilliant 200-word RPG challenge, which you can find by Googling 200-word RPG challenge. It's really not difficult to use the internet, guys. And we're from the 2019 crop. So please do go and check those guys out. 200-word RPG challenge has some absolute doozies and some awful ones and everything in between. It's excellent, excellent, excellent. We're going to start with My Lunch with Senator Andre. To give you an idea of what's happening, it is time to eat. It's about 6:45 on a Sunday. And Glenn, the real Glenn, Nonny, the real Nonny, and James, the real James, all wanted to eat. I, however, it being my house, don't really want to go out, so I'm offering to order in a UK Taco Bell, which is like an American Taco Bell, but much worse. That's all I'm willing to do. But if somebody can come up with a better idea, then I guess I have to go with what the majority want. So before the game, before we started, all three of my erstwhile players have written down three things that they want from a restaurant before we go. One of the things they've written down was a foodstuff, like serves hummus. One of the things was an aesthetic, like weird shit is on the walls, and one is a vibe, like such as awkwardly sexual, something like that, something silly that they want from today's restaurant. Then they each randomly put one of their things in a hat, and I drew them out randomly, and they were given somebody else's. So there's been a bit of a shuffling together of all of the various foodstuffs, aesthetics, and vibes that these people want. In a minute, when we get going, people are going to start suggesting restaurants. They're going to be making them up, improving them, giving a description, trying to keep what they actually want secret, but definitely and 100% refusing to compromise on what they want. Every now and then, people can propose a vote if they want to go on a restaurant, if they want to go to a particular restaurant that's been suggested, and once it's seconded, the voting can then begin. I will have a vote as well, and in the event of a tie, given it's my house you're all staying at, I will have the casting vote on whether we go or not. But don't worry, all I want is Taco Bell. So this is just a little one to get us going. It's only going to last 10 minutes, guys. Before we begin, I would love it if you could just tell us a little bit about who you are, introduce yourselves, and tell me something about yourselves that only I know, which I think for Glenn is terrifying, and for Nonny is very little. So it should be easy. Go on, guys.
About ourselves as people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, don't worry. But just to let the people get to know you before. Doesn't have to be true. Glenn, why don't you go first? Sorry, I just assumed you would go first.
My name is Glenn. In my spare time, I do wood carvings of hedgehogs, and you can find my work on Bebo. Just look up Glenn, you'll find it.
I've actually seen his hedgehogs. They are aggressively sexual.
What I really love there
James,
is that I think it
yourself?
probably went into the stream is that you kind of broke up a little bit, Tem. So it went, they are aggressively sexual as it caught up. It was beautiful. My name is James. I am the same James that has been on the stream in previous weeks, although I shaved off my beard and styled my hair because I was in let's just call it a movie day, in which I played the character of Tim Ballantyne doing a porno. So I had to actually shave off for the prosthesis, heavy prosthesis that had to go on my face.
That's fair. If you've ever seen me in porno, you'll know it's not pretty.
There's a lot of prosthesis on the whole body, really.
Hello, I'm Nonny, and I was going to try and say something funny, but I got nothing.
No, you don't have to, don't worry.
I had a lovely chat with my mum earlier.
That is wonderful.
Where she pretended to understand what a TTRPG was. It was very nice.
Very good. That's very supportive. My mum just rolls her eyes when I talk about this, so it's well done your mum. Very supportive.
Oh, I have a quick.
Go on, Nonny.
Oh, sorry. I have a quick question about the game, really quick, that I forgot to ask before. You said when you were describing it that there's like one thing that we can pick to veto.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, how does that work again?
So just have in your mind what. So the idea is you've got the restaurant, the three things you want. Imagine in your head what the exact opposite of that would be, and if the thing that somebody is proposing is basically that opposite thing, then just go, no, it's literally the opposite of what I want. Can't happen. Okay. Let's just go straight into it. Like there's not a huge amount of setup needed. You're all at my house. I have suggested that we listen, guys. If I'm just going to order in Taco Bell, it's going to be the vegan burritos. Do they have vegan burritos? Who knows? It's going to be the vegan Taco Bell burritos, which I'm sure are extraordinary quality. So unless somebody has a better idea of where we go, unless someone has a better idea of where we go, that's what we're getting.
Allow me.
Given what I've heard about the quality of meat at Taco Bell, I think I'd prefer to go for the vegan one.
In that case, you can have the chicken.
Allow me to begin, if you will, Tim. I have a number of options for you, alternatives, if you will, to the, let's call it, Mexican food at Taco Bell. There's actually a few new restaurants. There's a few new restaurants around here. Some of my favourites are Jalapeno Business, Guackwood Conversation. And the one we should go to is Juan Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is objectively the best Mexican restaurant in town.
Tell me about Juan Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. What's it like?
Well, if you like children running around eating burritos, then you will love this place. It caters to not only people who are fun and our age, but even to small children all the way up to old people nearly dead. There's a wide variety of spice flavours specifically for the discerning palate, and that not only that, there's people who look like they might be Mexican wearing large sombrero hats which come around. They come with a big guitar and they actually sit at your table playing music all up in your face.
Do they make eye contact with you as they do it?
I would say an uncomfortable amount of eye contact. But
Any amount
the
of eye
song that they
contact is an
sing,
uncomfortable amount of eye contact.
that's true. I would say the songs that they sing, however, are very much tailored to you, and I would say that they've gone to a quite mysterious lengths to find out very personal facts about you to put into the songs as well, which is my
So
favorite.
the real question though is like you said, like the menu, like what kind of starters do they have? Because I'm not really feeling something super heavy.
Oh, well, good job that they only have one starter.
What is that?
But
What is
as
that
a
starter?
nachos with a large selection of condiments that can go on top of those nachos.
Can you have nachos with mayonnaise?
No, they didn't have any mayonnaise.
Vinegar?
Okay, but what if we completely break
Vinegar?
from tradition, right? Because like
They don't have vinegar.
I heard of this like great new place that's opened up. It's really like exclusive, deceptively cheap for the quality, and it's actually so underground it doesn't really have a name yet. And it just seems like a really chill place to hang out. Like it's got really cool decor. They've got their own mushroom farm that they use to make some of their dishes. And like I think it'd be really good if you
Are
had,
these
like,
mushroom-based
sustainable-
dishes? Are they mushroom-based dishes?
Well, not all of them, but like, you know, their mushroom soup is made from like their own in-house grown mushrooms. It's even got like a
Yeah.
cool sort of microbrewery in the back. So I think
Oh, you've stole Tim.
Yeah,
and it's
so
just
can
like, it's got that kind of cluttered chic sort of aesthetic, which I think is kind of cool.
Can I ask, what racist caricature are the staff dressed up as in this place?
That is the best bit. They are dressed up as a racist caricature of white hipsters, which is the best.
That's just a
Like
caricature
everyone
of white
is wearing
hipsters.
at least 3 beanies at any given time.
Okay.
Nonny, can I actually ask? You said it's so underground it doesn't have a name. Is there like an escalator or mostly stairs?
Alternate thing, it's actually
If you alternate between stairs,
Also,
these stairs don't move.
finally let's get out.
also, if we get split up on the way there, how do I maps it?
Oh, I can like what 3 words you the coordinates.
Is that how
Yeah.
is that how you get to this place? They have just coordinates.
Well, no, it's,
The hole in the ground.
Yes.
it's less of a hole in the wall and it's more a hole in the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I see it is that both of your places sound like the people are far too noisy, intrusive, in your face, that kind of thing. Me personally, if I get to a
These
place,
these are not noisy people. They don't talk to you. Okay, you tell them their
Hipsters
order
aren't
and then
noisy.
they go,
Yeah,
well,
they're-
that appeals.
and then they bring you something completely different that is still delicious.
See, the thing is, I don't want to try something different. I want basically like I want microwave food, and I want a pint, and I want it to be a deal that costs £3, and I want the staff.
Weatherspoons it
Yeah,
is.
and I just want the staff to ignore you because I just want to be left alone in this place. I mean, kids running around burritos and Mexican singers sounds far too much, and
But
I
also,
don't want
with
them
the
to
greatest
grow
respect,
their own mushrooms. I don't want to try 3 different types of mushroom.
Can I just say, Glitch literally said, I want the opposite of what James wants, so can I veto him straight away?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a feeling James and not going to come to agreement. In real life, Glenn, mushrooms are one of the few things you can actually eat, aren't they?
Yeah, I like mushrooms in real life, but I'm doing a character, Tim. That's what's required of me.
Imagine mushrooms in like Mexican food.
Yeah. So, Glenn, if you're not happy with either of these 2 suggestions, where would you actually want to eat?
I just want to go to a place that is not, no pretense about it. You walk in, it's just a brick building, and you walk in, and the staff, reluctantly take your order, scowling at you as they do, and then
Glenn,
you just.
can I just pause you there? The building I was suggesting is made of brick.
I mean,
Yes.
It's not made of mushrooms.
building, like that's got the same sort of vibe that I like, but it's not.
Like I'm totally. I'm open to going to Nonny's cabin in the floor.
I feel like
But,
Nonny's
sorry.
is closer to what I want.
You said bricks. She's not... We're going to an
I
underground
also said I want the
garden.
staff to ignore me, not make a song of my darkest secrets.
Glenn, as you know from the many times we've gone to dinner, I always ignore you.
So Glenn, I mean, you've talked about the
That's
kind
true.
of place. Do you have any
And I like
suggestions?
that about. Yeah. There's this place down the road. It's just called Dive. That's its name. It's a wooden sign hanging off the wall.
Did
You
you
go
say
in there,
Can you
die
spell
or
it?
die?
Because I had the same question as Nonny.
Dive is as in into water.
Okay.
They're not
Die!
that hostile.
Far too aggressive.
Yeah, they
It's
don't.
German
They don't
for
want to
the.
take your order, but they also don't want to kill you. It's very much in between.
It's the Glenn Saxby School of Service.
Yeah, like sitting down, do the bare minimum. Me and Tim, my pub does open next week. If anyone would like to come in.
Okay, so tell me about Dive. It's got a wooden sign out front. That's what I've learned. What is its signature meal?
Its signature meal is what they do is they get this pie, right, and it's been in the freezer, so you know it's good quality because you can't grow mold in a freezer, so don't have to worry about mold. And then they've got this box, and they open the box and they put the pie in. They take the metal thing out because otherwise the box explodes, and then the pie gets hot, and then it arrives with a pint, and the whole thing costs you less than £5 in London.
Tim, if that's the kind of thing that you want, I can get you a pie and some beer for less than that. And put it in the exact oven cooking process that Glenn has
I have a
described.
feeling what he was actually suggesting it was a microwave, not even an oven.
Have you ever had a microwave pie?
Listen, Glenn, I don't even have a veto, and I'm vetoing that fucking restaurant.
Look, I have exactly a £5 on me, and
I genuinely love the idea that we're trying to make up like the dumbest restaurants we can find, and you've come up with Weatherspoons but shitter. Like,
I mean, in fairness to Glenn, I didn't think that was possible.
utterly fantastic.
Look, I have exactly.
Are they racist? Are the racist people who own it?
No, I can't really tell because they don't say enough to let their racism out. They could be. Maybe that's the problem.
I mean, James,
What does it look like inside the dive?
Sorry?
Go on, James.
What does it look like inside dive? Sorry, die.
It looks like the building is possibly condemned, and they've sort of decorated it from a skip, which is good because that's cheaper than decorating it not from a skip.
Okay, here's my question though. Where did they find the skip?
On the street
Like, did they find
somewhere.
the skip in the middle of London, or is this the skip like from the countryside, or did they go out to the dump?
Countryside skip's delightful.
Countryside skips are good. No, it's very inner city skip. Nothing
Okay.
with much value.
There could be a body in there.
Yeah, we're not
That's why it's
talking
called die.
we're not talking boutique tractor parts on the wall and a theme
Oh, but
here. We're talking like bits of
Parts are
plasterboard.
amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
Can I
my
just
place
throw?
is boutique parts.
Go on, James.
of course
And a
it would.
lovely trellis.
Can I just throw it out there? I think if we're going to go for a meal, I personally don't want to go somewhere where the building might collapse, like Glenn's just described, or B, there might be a cave in, like Nonny's hole in the ground.
Okay, they've only had one cave-in in the 3 months they've been open, okay?
Yeah. I remember reading the Guardian review of that place, and it was titled "In Defense of Cave-ins." I mean,
You know?
Whilst-
And that only covered like 3 of the 5 tables.
I can imagine them going, yeah, we had a cave, but it's different. It's quirky.
listen, James
No,
and Nonny have both suggestions, I think. Is there, Glenn, have you heard of anywhere that's like a little bit of both? Because this is London. You and I are the Londoners. Is there anywhere nearby that's like a little bit of both of what they want? Like, are there any racist Mexican hipster restaurants?
Oh yes, and can I just stress, Glenn, it's really important that there is a pun in the name of the restaurant.
I just want a good selection of starters. Okay? Like, I need to see what the starter menu is.
No.
So you don't like nachos
No.
without mayonnaise and without vinegar? Like, name any other condiment or side dish to go on top of nachos. It has to have nachos.
I mean, if we could switch out the nachos for some croutons.
You're thinking of mushroom soup
Yeah.
again, aren't you? Yeah. I mean, I think they actually do have a kind of soup, but the nachos act as the croutons.
Okay.
It's not mushroom soup though. It's Mexican
It doesn't
onion.
have to be mushrooms. Like, I could go like a tomato and basil. I could go pea and mint.
What you're
know?
describing there, Nani, is called salsa.
I mean, what is soup but hot salsa?
There we go. Me and Nani have already reached a compromise.
Lots of other things.
Glenn, what about nacho problem?
Ah, I see Tim has done. I googled Mexican buns.
Food buds, yeah. What about nacho problem? Nacho problem's good, aren't they? They've got an excellent selection of rustic soups.
I don't know about them, but there's Nach Grows, which is that Mexican restaurant that grows mushrooms and produces nachos solely from the mushrooms they grow in store.
Oh, so there's actually like a nacho farm.
Yeah, a fungi-based nacho farm.
May I also make another suggestion? Another Mexican restaurant that's I've heard of, which is open, which I think will. Again, Glenn will hate, but Nani will definitely love. It's called Perrito, in which it's half Mexican restaurant, half cat cafe.
Okay.
I mean,
None of
listen,
this
if the
is on my
vote's being
list,
called
but
on
keep
that.
going.
I feel like that appeals to me as well because
Shut up, Glenn!
The cats, the staff will
Veto is
inevitably scowl and ignore you.
I'm sorry. No, I wasn't clear. It's not staffed by cats. Cats famously can't roll burritos.
They serve cat. They serve
The cats. Oh, they serve.
The cats are in the
No,
burritos.
Nonny, that's not true. That's a lie. That is a lie, Nonny.
No, you eat the cats. That you have your normal burrito, but then they wrap a cat up in a little burrito blanket type thing, and they present it to you to give a cuddle to, so that it can't slash your face.
That's the sort of the bit between the starter and the main course. It's like the fish course, but you don't eat anything. You just cuddle a cat. Yeah. Well, listen,
If you do want to eat
You
cats,
feed the
there's a
cat
Korean restaurant.
James, if you want to put that forward, I'll happily second that place.
Burrito, I'd love that. I will put that forth.
I'll second a vote on Perrito.
And you said it
Not
had to
saying
be
whether I'll...
Yes, it's not just burritos, but also cats.
Okay. Yeah. I could be in favor of that.
And the selection is you can either eat the burrito or eat the cat. No one chooses the second option at all.
Yeah. No one chooses the second option. You have to be a psycho.
Don't you fucking dare.
Yeah.
I
can tell you about to cause mischief.
can imagine they've just got this huge supply of cats. Like, no one ever picks the cat.
They're breeding like crazy.
They got them on Amazon, subscribe and save. So just every week they're getting 5 new cats.
Well, Glenn.
Yeah, the cats have taken over now.
So you're flat out of luck. We're all going to Perritos. If you want, it's just down the road from Dive, so you can go and eat there on your own.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, and then
Frankly, I
Glenn, you
think
can
the
die.
rest of us would enjoy ourselves more if you did.
I'm gonna nick a cat and then go sit and dive where I'll be left alone.
I mean, I feel like from the description they would happily gift you a cat just
Probably.
to get it out
They've
off their
got a couple of strays.
Please get rid of these cats. They're eating all the burritos.
All right, yeah. So I like little role playing games like that. Well done, everyone. We've picked a location. James, did you get everything you wanted?
My food stuff was burrito. The vibe was uncomfortably familiar, and I got another vibe of family friendly. So I think at least 2 out of 3 because
I think 2 out of 3 for family friendly. Uncomfortably familiar.
It depends on the cat.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, exactly. If they show you their testicles quite regularly.
Yeah, like, or stroke your boobs like Nonny says.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what I had to put up with from my cat earlier?
I would like to know, yes.
Bastard face.
So,
That's a classic.
So he came to sit on me, and he started like. Either he was grooming himself and just happened to have a raging boner at the time, or I witnessed my cat sucking himself off.
Oh no.
I mean,
Sure.
man of the room, if you could, you would, right? Like,
Yes, of course we would.
But not while it sat on me.
I don't know if
I
Twitch,
know I
I
would.
don't know if Twitch allows this kind of thing.
Very
Nonny,
uncomfortable.
Nonny,
Nonny,
did you
if I
get
could, I would
everything you
sit on your
wanted?
lap. I would sit on my lap. I would suck myself off, like uncomfortable levels of eye contact with you while I did it.
Cool. I mean, that's sexual assault over it. Let's just move on. Nonny, did you get everything you wanted from the game, not from what James just said?
I said it if I could.
James, I was with you up until the eye contact.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the thing. I feel like sometimes people will like think that I'm like a super hard dom, but it's like because I'm like just don't look at me. But actually, it's just I really don't like eye contact. Anyway, this is very quickly going to get us banned off Twitch, so I'm going to stop. So I mean, I wanted at least 4 soups on offer. So if there's plenty of soups, I got that.
That's fine.
And I wasn't sure if what I got was a vibe or an aesthetic. But the
I
aesthetic
think it could have been either. So
yeah. So the aesthetic that I picked was cottagecore maximalism.
which was definitely in your original suggestion. I'm not sure if, I mean, with the exception again of the cat. The cat seems to have been the
Cat
thing
is
that's
a
pulled it
bit
all together.
cottagecore.
Cat could be a bit cottagecore. It's why I focused in on the mushrooms so hard. And the one I received was building possibly condemned.
Nice.
Sorry.
Which
I think I got one.
I think
but,
you got one.
like,
I think you got one.
Okay.
And James, you got one of mine.
What the uncomfortably familiar?
Yeah.
So I got. Well, I didn't get mine.
Have
was
you enjoyed where you've gone to eat, Glenn?
No.
Oh no.
I think personally, so the vibe that I had was staff scowl when you tried to order, and I'm gonna argue that's the mood that cats give you most of the time.
Getting
So
ignored
in that
like
way,
that.
I think I'm happy.
Absolutely, yeah.
However, aesthetic was building possibly condemned and racially inappropriate Mexican memorabilia, which I think I got. And then food stuff, cheap and cheerful microwave pie and a pint, which unfortunately I didn't get. It's going to cost more than the £5 that was in my pocket.
Yeah. I mean,
And I
in
just
real
want to
life,
make it clear.
Go on,
I want to make
James.
it clear that none of us are going to give you any money towards your food.
Well, I'm just going to dip. I'm just going to go to the bathroom when the bill comes and then exit that way.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll take a brief 5-10 minute break while we prepare for our next game. Our next game, Murder She Did, Murder She Done, in which 4 people, because me included, because this one's going to be GMless, are preparing for a socialite wedding in a manor house in Virginia when one of us is murdered, and anyone could be a suspect.
Sure.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dragon Wheels, the dumb stream where a dumb man makes dumb games for intelligent people. We are back. We are back tonight with our second game of the evening. Normally we do one game that takes up a full session, but today we're doing two shorter, sweeter games. This is the main event for this evening. A wonderful game from the wonderful group 200 Word RPG Challenge, and this is called Murder She Did by Brian Ashford. Brian Ashford, you can find his blog on ominosity.wordpress.com. Do check him out. This game is absolutely fantastic. It's such a wonderful little idea that's based on a popular fan theory that the main woman from Murder, She Wrote is actually the biggest serial killer in American history. And what she does is she kills people and then goes and solves those murders in order to get away with it. And so all of those books she's written about other people murdering within the fiction of the TV show is the people she killed. So all four of us have created a character. We are all at a manor house, a very, very lovely, beautiful manor house in West Virginia. Given its location and the fact it's an old manor house, probably a very racist old house, and a very wealthy socialite couple have planned their wedding there, and all four of us are not the couple, but parts of the party who have come by early to help prepare and plan the wedding. We'll get an introduction to everybody in just a moment. But what's going to happen is at the beginning of the mission, we randomly determined them secretly before the game began, person is going to be killed before the game even begins, and the little old lady who has murdered them is going to turn up and put forward her evidence, her Murder, She Wrote evidence, for why one of the three remaining guests at this wedding was in fact the murderer, so that she can solve the very murder she's committed. Let's begin, I think, by talking through the characters as soon as I've got the rules out of the way, and then we can find out who has been murdered, who has died. In advance, we've all worked out the relationships between each other, and each of us has produced a couple of secrets which we've given away to some of the other characters. So some of these secrets and some of the salacious details about our characters' pasts are going to come up as we try and discover who has done it. If we are unable to counter the accusation effectively of the little old lady, at the end of this session, the little old lady's explanation will have been believed by the police, and the person who she accuses will be arrested and put on trial for the murder. If we can counter it properly and make our own accusations, and the police are going to believe the most convincing reasoning, which we're all going to do while out of character. We're going to sort of try and come up with an agreement together on that one. And that's it. It's very, very simple. Very simple set of rules. There's no stats. It's just going to be all of us having a lovely bit of role-playing. So why don't we introduce our characters who are going to be here today? Why don't we start with you, James, since I can see you on the screen?
Of course. Well, my name is John Badman. I am the father of the bride, and I have been paying for this goddamn wedding for it seems an eternity. I'm really sorry about the accent. It's going to continue for the remainder. My darling little cherry blossom, Virginia, is getting married to another gentleman, Peter, who's, I believe, will be taking her cherry of this very evening. I graciously hosted this in my manor house, a very large, very white, old building full of history going back almost 50 years.
I know Nonny noticed it as well, but still take a cherry this very evening.
I was gonna make some kind of joke about like his Peter in Virginia, but
oh my god! I mean, that's why it's called Virginia, because it was named after the third queen. But I mean, fucking hell, James.
It was entirely on purpose.
Yeah. Glenn.
I wish I could say that. I just have other stuff in my head.
How will you discuss the ploughing of the bride when you introduce yourself?
I will try not to. Well, hello. My name is Quainton Biggleswade Leclay. I'm a boutique wedding planner. A little bit of information on me. I'm actually a direct descendant of the Baron of Aylesbury. Yes, I'm a man of considerable taste, and the family are very lucky to have me here to curtail the excesses of the, shall we say, lack of taste. My reputation for quality precedes me, and this is why I was chosen for the job. It has nothing to do with my personal relationship with a certain aunt of the bride. Not that is it any of your business. Thank you very much.
Am I
Very well.
lovely?
Let's jump over to the aunt of the bride, Nonny.
Well, hello. I am Lady Bridget Caulfield Tottington, and I am indeed the aunt of the bride. She is my favourite little niece, and I do not understand why my darling brother has decided to affect such a ridiculous accent. I think that it's because he spent the last few years over in Yankland, I shall say.
I've been here for 50 years.
Of course. Oh, whilst I'm here, actually, I found this absolutely gorgeous thing, and it just made me think of you. So it is a microwave omelette maker, but it is it does have a gold inlay, so don't actually put it in a microwave, but it's such a fantastic statement piece for your kitchen.
Bridget, my devoted sister, thank you so much for this gift. As you know, I have my bellboy microwave all my omelettes, and I believe he already has one of... I'll put this in the cupboard with the other presents you get me.
You did. Oh, you have a whole cupboard just for me. Oh, that's so lovely.
Yes,
of
I
you.
call it the dustbin cupboard.
You are oh.
Yeah.
Quainton, darling. I'll see you later, though. Okay.
Okay, Briggy, my pet name for you, which I've just come up with.
I think my favourite part about that is how you did a sort of a southern vehicle thing, but with omelette.
Expect many more mispronunciations.
I look
I
forward to
can't
it.
actually decide if I like this cider or not. Apparently, it's vegan friendly, so it must be giving some compliments to those delightful hipsters down the road.
Can I just really quickly, just remind myself of the names of everyone's Quaintain,
Quentin Bigglesworth
Quainton.
Quainton.
Quainton,
Biggleswade Leclay.
John. I mean, John is going to be difficult
God.
to remember, and
Biggleswade Leclay, two
But-
hyphens.
But sometimes when we're feeling a little spicy and like to roleplay, I do call him QAnon.
love it.
Quainton Bigglesworth Lequay and Lady Bridget Coalfield Tottington.
Caulfield.
You should remember my name. I have been your sister for over 70 years now.
I was very clearly doing that in a British accent. My accent's not that inconsistent.
Does
I
anyone
know.
else?
I've
Does
just
anyone else
decided
think
once the accent's gone on, that's it for the whole night now. I'm so sorry.
Does anyone else think that Nonny is
It's just me. I'm
more
fine.
her than she's ever been?
I'm more attracted to Nonny than I've ever been in my life, and that's saying something.
And then I guess finally, at the end of all of that, I should introduce myself. My name is Zachariah, and I am a humble bellhop who has been working here in the manor for 30 years. I have been very carefully carrying everybody's bags up to their rooms, which for some reason are on the second or even third floor of this humble establishment. And I do not like the fact that there are so many people who bring just so much luggage into this building. And I hope you have no more questions for me.
It's very strange, Zachariah. We only have 2 floors on this mansion, but
You see.
I do declare that it was built with very little aesthetic. Sometimes you have to go up and down stairs 4 or 5 times to get to the second floor.
Yes, it's so funny, isn't it? It is so quaint compared to the manor house that John and I grew up in with Mummy and Daddy, isn't it?
It's a lot smoke.
All right,
know,
it is
it's
time.
It's so cute.
It is time.
You can't stop us from role playing, Tim.
It's time for the inciting event of of today's adventure: the murder of a person is discovered murdered in their room. I will I will allow Glenn to tell me the manner in which they were discovered and who discovered their body. Glenn, your character's been murdered. Very sadly, Quainton is no more.
Taken before his time.
I'm sorry. You must give me a moment. I must put on my morning garb.
So how is Quainton found? And by who discovers the body?
So the body was discovered by just looking through the secrets that I've
My
got.
morning tiara. Doesn't everyone have a morning tiara?
I thought when you said morning, you meant the time of the day was before midday.
That's what I thought as well.
No.
So Tim, what's your character's name?
Zachariah.
So Zachariah found the body, and the body was actually found with just its throat had dollar bills shoved into it until he choked on money. So here's what happened. What I have deduced.
Wait, we're not going to get to that yet.
Oh, okay.
Just your character. So we've just, I have found the character, the dead character with dollar bills shoved into their throat.
Yeah.
So obviously, we call the police. We call anybody who can help, and a little old lady, who, for those of you who are watching, is secretly, we all know, the real murderer, turns up, ready to explain everything. She investigates for a few days, for a few hours. She looks around. She investigates the crime scene. She looks around people's rooms. She asks various questions and interviews and catches people out in small, easily identifiable lies, until eventually she gathers all three of the main suspects: Zachariah, Bridget Caulfield-Tottingham, and John Badman. One of these names is not
I've got
like
a
the
strong
others.
feeling, I know. I've got a strong feeling that I know who Glenn is going to try and pin this on.
Into a room in order for the little old lady, please take it away, Glenn, to present her initial thesis of who made Quainton Biggleswade the Clay choke on his own money.
Now I've got the choice of whether to do an old lady accent and hold it up for the rest of the. I'm gonna go for it.
All right, nice.
Hello, dear. No, you know what? It's gonna be far too much effort.
You got almost 2 words in.
Yeah,
Almost
and I realised. So I expect you wonder why I've brought you all to the dining room today on this darkest
Well, I
of days.
suppose it's to tell us who the murderer is.
I also was hoping to find out who killed such a wonderful man in such awful cold blood.
I just need to know who took my Quainton from me.
Well, you may cry, but these are crocodile tears, for the murderer is you, Bridget.
Now, hang on a second there, Mrs. Fletcher.
Mrs. Fletcher, you were telling me that my beloved Quainton was taken from us by such a foul woman.
No, I am sorry. I am sorry. Me and Quainton had a delightful getaway dungeon cruise planned for just next week.
Indeed you did. But how many cruises did you have planned?
I could only afford one this fortnight.
And would you like to explain to the group why you could only afford one?
I had tried to help. I was trying to help him. He had the most delightful idea of creating a line of winter wear made out of felted cat fur. And so I lent him the money for the startup funds. It folded, and so with the wedding and coming all the way over here, I could only afford the one cruise.
Yes, so
It's going to be such a beautiful cruise. I had bought new latex specially.
Oh, but I think, Bridget, we don't need to go into those details in front of Mrs. Fletcher.
I must ask, when you say one cruise, do you mean just one person on a cruise, or do you mean
She
one
means-
cruise between the two of
holiday.
you?
It would have been both of us. But normally we go on at least 2 every fortnight, 3 weeks at the most.
2 every fortnight.
2 a
Yeah.
fortnight. So it appears that as a sugar baby of Bridget here, Quainton was used to a rather lovely life, expecting 2 cruises every fortnight, until he made some terrible financial decisions, ruining Bridget. I believe what happened is they were arguing. Bridget said, "You lost all my money." Quainton said, "Why? I've come to expect a certain lifestyle, and you're not providing it anymore." And due to his ungratefulness, I believe she snapped and shoving money down his throat, telling him, "Well, take it then. You've taken everything from me." Later that day, I saw.
Taken anything that I would not have freely given.
Later.
Please, Bridget, let's not bring your vagina into this.
I'm sorry, John, but you were never happy with my relationship with Quentin.
That's because I thought he was not good enough for my darling Bridget.
Well, exactly. How do I know it wasn't you?
Me? Well, I'm a man of a certain girth. I will spend most of this morning on the toilet destroying that poor porcelain utensil.
I'm sorry, but I know for a fact that you have been constipated since you were 7 years old.
I know it just come out this morning.
You were always jealous.
Check with Zachariah. He can tell you that I was trying to fix that toilet for 3 hours. Oh God, what's happened to this place?
You just didn't want to pay him for the fantastic services that he rendered for you.
I can confirm, Miss Fletcher, that this man here was indeed at least near a toilet for most of the morning. However, when I was fixing the commode, he did step outside in order to get a refreshment for just a few moments.
Indeed, I'd spent a lot of time in that toilet. I needed some fresh air to deal with the smell.
I also needed fresh air at the time, but I had no choice in the matter.
Zachariah, was that your name, sir? I forget my staff's names many times.
You regularly forget my name, sir, despite the fact that I'm the only bellhop in this establishment.
I know, I did give you that badge, but as you know, I'm not one for reading much. Well, Zebedee, I find myself with the inappropriate duty of revealing that I have indeed found some rather incriminating letters. What? Letters inside your bedroom.
Which letters indeed are you talking about, sir?
The rather stalkery death threats that I have found inside your room.
I did not write those for the consumption of other people.
Was you being my acquaintance?
I was simply exercising a small fantasy that shall remain private.
No, now is not the time for privacy, Zachariah.
Indeed, Zachariah, privacy has gone out the window, much at the same time that I destroyed the window to get the smell out of the toilet.
Farewell. Farewell. As some of you may know, I have long been in love with the beautiful and, dare I say, radiant Mr. Quainton Biggleswade the Clay. And I have often thought of myself as very much, and I hope my terminology here is not too difficult for those of a sensitive disposition, but I am a bottom, and and I was simply indulging a fantasy.
Presuming that you did not, in fact, murder my acquaintance, if that is what is found, We did, in fact, make a clone of Willy about 3 weeks ago. I'd be happy to...
Bridget, now is not the time for your clone of Willy.
As a gift from one morning lover to another.
I genuinely don't know what to say to that. I think you will find that clone of Willy is in fact mine.
Mrs. Fletcher, I hope you don't mind me steering the conversation away from the clone of Willy. But if indeed that you have had a anal fascination with Quentin, I then put to you, Mrs. Fletcher, a little secret I spied rather shortly this week, which may shine some light upon these circumstances. Whilst my son-in-law-to-be, Peter, was out driving to a nearby train station to pick up some of our relatives, I witnessed old Bigglesway LeQuay, leaving the room of my darling daughter Virginia's room, hastily buttoning up his undershirt. I believe that finding out that Quentin had despoiled my beautiful daughter, Zachariah Bahia. Did I get it right?
Yeah, you did.
Mostly true. This is the only name I can actually remember in this investigation. Zachariah flew into a fit of rage and shoved some stuff in his mouth. Something that his little fantasy had been hinting at for some time.
There may be some surface level connections between my little fantasy and what actually went down. But have you overlooked the fact that as a humble bellhop, I am very rarely in possession of enough hard paper cash to be able to effectively end a person's life?
But you do have a skeleton key for all of the rooms, and I do not know how to reset the combination on the safe.
It just happens 0000. It's the same combination for everyone.
I must confess, as an uneducated man, I do not know how to read the numbers on a safe.
Yet you are able to write explicit letters to my darling Quentin.
Oh, right and reading are two very different things.
Track of exactly how much money I have on my person at any one time, because that seems like such a poor person thing to do. But I did notice that it did not appear to be in the same place when I checked 20 minutes ago.
And also, I might add that Quentin famously had a big wad of cash upon him at most times. My own cash, if I remember correctly, that he has taken from me to buy lily flowers.
That reminds me, Mr. Badman. Mr. Badman, you were particularly perturbed by the fact that Mr. Quentin was so, how should we say, frivolous with your money. Perhaps the manner of his death would suggest a man who has been furious at the loss of money and the loss of cash, so particular to your particular circumstances. Maybe the method of murder is indicative of a man with something to lose.
I'm sorry, what did you just say? The method of what?
I'm suggesting that the manner in which he has died might suggest...
No, say murder again.
Of murder?
I will have you know, Zachariah, that if indeed you are correct in your assumption and that my money, which I wanted to reclaim, was the motive for this murder.
Murder?
I can promise you this. I would have kept that cash and put it back in my pocket.
To be fair, from what I know of John's I hope you don't mind me sharing with the class, John. But from what
I
I know
definitely
of
do mind.
financial circumstances, that does seem roundabout accurate. He refused to allow me to pay Quaintain myself, even though it left him virtually penniless.
Please leave my penniless nature out of this, Bridget.
My darling, if you would please stop being so stubborn and allow me to help you with the money from both of my ex-husbands, it would not even be in this mess.
Well, Bridget.
Both of my ex-husbands are still alive, I should have you know. You don't get alimony from a corpse.
Bridget,
just revenge.
Although they wish
Is
they
that
were
right?
not, I am sure.
And
I'm not sure if this is relevant, Bridget, but I do have a secret of yours of my own that I know, which I feel I should share because it's very funny. You travel around on your cruises quite a lot, don't you, Bridget?
I'm sorry, what?
You travel around on your cruises quite a lot over the years.
Yes, I enjoy seeing the world. I do not understand what you're getting at.
Well, one of your cruises resulted in a little crash in the Himalayas.
I'm sorry, John. We agreed that we wouldn't talk about my 20s.
Well, that is true, but I know for a fact that poor, unfortunate circumstances left with only a box of boozy chocolates and a couple of bottles of champagne.
It was
Which, if that report I read in the paper is correct, resulted in you having to eat a lot of the bodies left of the other crewmates. And I have to say, Bridget, I'm not entirely convinced that your cannibalistic ways are behind you.
I think Mrs. Fletcher,
Ow!
we see here
Thank
is
you.
the profile of a woman who wanted to steal a beautiful, sensual man away from his financially ill-endowed but faithful servant, and take him.
Sachimaya, please, do not speak ill of my sister. I may because she is my sister, but this, if anything, proves her innocence. If indeed the corpse had any bites taken out of it, I too would point my finger at my sister.
well, we can ask the question to Zachariah whether the corpse had any bites taken out of it.
I'm sorry, who is Zachariah?
Zachariah?
I was
for
the
I
man who
believe-
discovered the body.
Yes,
Oh, that's
but
right,
not just
yes.
that, Zachariah, for I believe you provided some services, didn't you, to Miss Bridget here?
Indeed, I did. I, as you know, am a man wholly lacking in the bank account, and so seeing an opportunity of a generous and bountiful young woman, the opportunity to perhaps earn a little bit of how should we say, extra cash, and for me, that was. I was more than willing to go beyond general bellhopper and act as a butler and a manservant to such a woman.
Interesting that you should say go beyond, for I witnessed you burying something in a large plastic sheet in the Manor Gardens just last night. I believe what happened is this. Mrs. Bridget here murdered the aforementioned victim and gave you an offer of an amount of money you could not refuse to dispose of the body. Partway through disposing of this, I believe that your love for the victim caused you to have second thoughts.
Indeed,
I'm sorry. Did you say you saw him do something? I thought you only arrived after the body was found.
And I thought the body was still in the room with the money shoved down his mouth. How would he dispose of that here body?
Well, however this old lady came about that information, she is not incorrect. I was indeed disposing of an item wrapped in a plastic sheet, but I can assure you it had nothing to do with murder. Instead, a much beloved animal that spends its time on the estate passed away in its sleep. We called it Old Yeller.
Not Old Yeller.
After the animal from the movie that got put down.
But was it?
In genuinely quite upsetting circumstances, I thought the name was, let's be honest, a little ill-advised.
Was it Old Yeller or Young Fella, though?
Well, very good observation, Miss Fletcher, but please, that's too soon. Old Yellow is a very dear beloved pet of mine. I was very sad when he choked on that rabbit's anus.
I must say, I can only see in this room standing before me one realistic person who could have murdered such a beautiful and sensual man, a man who was very near and dear to my heart, who I can never imagine laying even a single finger on, except sexually. And that is the woman who had everything to gain with his murder. That's the woman who has looked after him and provided him with his lifestyle for so long that she no longer has the cash to keep it going. And in order to not deal with the moments of rejection,
I am not the broke man here. In fact, out of the three of us, I am most certainly the most well-to-do, and I will have you know that the only things that I could benefit from Quentin were his delightful company and his frankly astounding sexual prowess. That being said, does nothing but rob me of all the things that made him great. And I would just like to know what on earth Mrs. Fletcher was doing skulking around the grounds. To the best of my knowledge, you were not an invited member of this party, and I do not believe you are police. Thank you very much.
I think that Bridget might own to something here. I'm sorry, shock has made my voice go all over the place.
Do you have a minor heart attack while you were saying that sentence?
I feel like I'm having a stroke.
Well, if you want an explanation as to why I was in the area before the time of the murder, it's very simple. I was investigating another crime. I had actually discovered letters that had been written to Mr. Badman about his appearance in court for unspecified reasons, which he did not appear at the date he was required.
Are you saying Mr. Badman is currently on the lam?
That is what I am saying, yes.
I'll have you know.
You would go.
Well, I am sorry. I guess I must come clean.
I'm sorry, I need a finger cake.
Of course, Bridget, I do not want you to hear this business. Oh, no, you're back. Yes, I have been...
Fast foods are tiny.
That's true. That's why you loved Quentin so much.
And Quentin was not tiny.
That's a finger cake, I'm told.
He put the big in Biggleswade LaQuay.
Well, I have had a few brush-ins with the law recently. Don't mind telling you that I have had numerous monetary problems. I may even have turned to gambling for a short time. That sweet cockfighting, I just can't stop betting on it. And yes, I did try to increase my monetary value by importing seals. However, it came to my attention shortly after that is an illegal activity. And I was indeed asked to go and explain myself before a magistrate.
Magistrate.
A magistrate?
However, on the day of the court case, I myself suffered from a very, very small and minor heart attack, which might become a matter of my physical appearance and love of those finger cakes that my sister keeps on feeding me. I have indeed contacted the magistrate, and he said I can go and talk about it again in a week's time. Although, if I apparently am representing myself, because I can't afford a lawyer.
Sweetie, I told you you could use my lawyer.
Okay,
No,
so we are just
you
about
the alimony settlement he managed to get me.
jumping out of couch at the moment. We are just about out of time for our wrap up, which means that Mrs. Fletcher will have one opportunity to put forward her thesis for who is the murderer and why. And if we can find any factual accusations based on things we've already said to disprove her, then we can do so. Otherwise, the police will believe her. And if that's if we can disprove her, then whoever does the disproving will get to put forward their own version of events until we find, and so on. But yeah, so no new information can now be added. So the policeman, the extremely English policeman who explains how justice works in West Virginia, which is that the most convincing explanation after 25 minutes of arguing is the one that they go with, turns to you and says, Mrs. Fletcher, hello there. What's all this then? Sorry, I'm the plod's here.
I'm a foreign exchange policeman.
I'm a foreign exchange policeman. Could you just fill me in on the events of the evening and let me know who the murderer was, if that's all right?
Of course, it was very simple. My first clue came when I was investigating a previous crime of a man who had not appeared in court. When observing the grounds to validate his excuse of a heart attack, I witnessed Mr. Zachariah looking suspicious or outside, burying something in a large plastic sheet, which I believe was him attempting to bury the body of the victim. However, it was not him. He was too in love
Zachariah.
with the victim. Zachariah was too in love with Mr. Quainton Biggleswade Leclay to possibly murder him, and I believe he was offered a sum of money, which eventually his conscience took over, and he reported the body, and that sum of money was offered up by no one other than Miss Bridget, who murdered him.
Lady Bridget.
Lady Bridget, my apologies, who murdered him after him losing all of her money and then threatening to leave when she could not provide the lifestyle he was used to.
Well, I'm sorry to argue against you. I really, really am. However, as my lovely brother did bring up, you say you saw him attempting to bury the body and then change his mind. But the body did not leave his own bedroom.
I do have to stand by my sister on this.
And I'm sorry. However, I simply would not, as I have previously said, I had nothing to gain from murdering him. I am still quite well-to-do, and we had future plans, which I am quite happy to say I have evidence for.
Very well then, Mrs. Caulfield Tottington. Could you? Tottingham, sorry.
I was thinking of something else.
I was thinking of the football that's on later. It's a Caulfield against Tottenham. Yeah, Lady Caulfield Tottingham. If you could just fill me in on exactly what you believe has happened, then maybe this extremely strange justice system can come to a conclusion.
Well, I believe that the person who has the most motive to have killed my darling Quainton is the jealous man who wished that Quainton had the level of affection towards him that he had towards me. I believe that Zachariah murdered him in a fit of jealousy. I believe that he used the money out of jealousy that he could never provide for Quainton the way that I could. And the way I never will again.
I genuinely got nothing I've done or said in it that can, for anyone else to put
I would like to say that I fully support my sister's accusations here, if only because I do need to go to the toilet again.
Thank you, man.
It's okay, Merv.
Oh, all right then. I guess that'll have to do for us then. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Mrs. Fletcher. Well, again, you have been the voice of justice in a gruesome murder investigation, which you just happened by chance to be present. So once again, thank you for your service to the community, and I hope that the murder rate falls back down to levels that we normally see when you are not in the state.
Yes, thank you so much, Mrs. Fletcher. You are a paragon of society.
I just one woman doing what she can. Trying to make a difference in the population. Don't read into it.
I certainly will not.
That's a final one. Yeah, that brings us to a conclusion, I think, doesn't it? That brings us to a conclusion. The unfortunate Zachariah has been framed for Mrs. Fletcher's gruesome and surprisingly brutal and ironic murder. I want to thank everyone who has tuned in, all of you, every single one of you, the millions of you that have managed to find a few minutes in your day to come and check us out. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for checking out our stream. Going forwards, as said, we're going to be having a rotating group of guests, both USian and UKian, and maybe a few others, and we're going to see as we go forward. But it's going to be the same basic idea: dumb one-shots for dumb people, run by even dumber people. Next week, speaking of even dumber people, James will be running an adventure. What's the name of the adventure called?
It's called Mundane Magic, in which basically there's 3 players. They play the fates of the world, but one of them, and I'm not saying who, has broken their loom, which has prevented them from their near omnipotent powers to just regular magic wielding witches. They have to go down into the world to try and fix the chaos that has happened.
When you say the fates, you mean like the village fate?
Nope. I mean like the ones in that biographical film Hercules.
Gotcha. Fantastic. And yeah, so I think we're going to have Nonny back next week, who is going to be involved in that, and we are also going to have 2 brand new people, Bravin and North. North in particular, I'm extremely excited to see his face on a video, because
I've never seen him before.
Never seen it. We've talked to many times. He's a wonderful, wonderful role player and DM, whose face is currently completely alien.
I hope that the reason he makes us play that game on Discord isn't because he's hideously disfigured.
No, it's just a dark circle with a question mark inside it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He's like a character
Actually,
select
the
screen.
Twitter egg.
No, his face is the Skype symbol, I hope.
Thank you guys so much for coming and watching. If you want just to check out either of those games, they are My Lunch with Senator Andre by Alexander Sprague. That's Kitty Crusade on Twitter. And the dedication from the author in this particular game, I've got to say, just because I remembered it, is I dedicate this game to filibustering for long enough to get 3 a.m. Taco Bell. And the second game we played, that most recent one, genuinely wonderful. It's absolutely excellent. I recommend 100% if you guys have a group of people who want to get involved and do it. It's such a great game. Murder She Did by Brian Ashford. It's omnosity.wordpress.com. A final thanks to all of you for joining in. Thank you to Glenn, thank you to James, and thank you to Nonny for being excellent players.
And thank you to producing those games. I had an absolute blast with you guys.
Yeah,
I thought that was really fun.
Yep. And see you all next week. I'll be watching. I'll be in the chat, so come join and hang out with me, watching some excellent people play some excellent games. See you guys next time.
See ya.
See you soon.